On December 7, 1972, the journey of Apollo 17 began with the roar of the Saturn V rocket from Kennedy Space Center. With 3 astronauts, Eugene Cernan, Harrison Schmitt, and Ronald Evans. This mission was the final chapter of National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Apollo program. But was this really a triumphant ending or the beginning of a terrifying mystery? After its 3-day journey toward the moon, when Apollo 17, as it enters the moon's orbit and reaches the far side of the moon, a strange silence falls over the mission control room. Because for a long time, contact with the crew was about to be lost. Because as soon as it goes to the far side of the moon, all contact with Earth is lost. And at this time, the crew heard some very mysterious sounds. But maybe this wasn't the thing that scared National Aeronautics and Space Administration and made them never go to the moon again. So what exactly happened during Apollo 17? On the afternoon of December 11, when the lunar module lands in the Taurus Littrow Valley, everything is going according to plan. Coming out of orbit, there is a soft and precise landing on the descent trajectory. Cernan and Schmitt take the final and historic steps on the surface of the moon. After landing on the surface of the moon, both astronauts get involved in their scientific work. A total of 21.5 kilograms of rocks are collected and the radiation level is also measured. It is found that the radiation present on the surface of the moon is much higher than on Earth. But in the meantime, some images are captured on camera that later put this mission under question. In one picture, a mysterious figure appears in the astronaut's visor, which looks just like a human but without a spacesuit. Was that strange-looking figure just a shadow? This question troubled everyone at that time. That strange figure that was captured in the photographs. Even today, it remains a topic of debate between scientists and conspiracy theorists. That strange figure appears to be about 1.8 meters tall and its upper part is round like a human head. It looks as if a person is walking on the moon without any spacesuit. Some people call it pareidolia, which means an illusion of our mind, in which a person tries to find something familiar in vague images. Like how we often try to see a face or a shape in the clouds, but in reality, there is nothing like that in the clouds. But was this really an illusion? National Aeronautics and Space Administration claims that it could be the reflection of the spacecraft or the shadow of the lunar module. But looking at the angle and lighting in the photos, people don't want to believe National Aeronautics and Space Administration. People believe that National Aeronautics and Space Administration is definitely trying to hide something. The incident in Schmidt's diary is even more mysterious. One night, while they were conducting experiments on the surface of the moon, a faint blue glow caught their attention. It was like plasma, but this light was actually flashes of light coming from cosmic rays. These light flashes were not always blue. In fact, they used to be of random colors. During Apollo 17, an experiment was conducted on these light flashes, and this phenomenon was completely natural. Some alien theorists exaggerated it and tried to link it to aliens, but this is completely a natural phenomenon. After Apollo 17, many conspiracies also emerged about why National Aeronautics and Space Administration never went back to the moon. The first theory says that National Aeronautics and Space Administration found traces of an unknown civilization on the moon and completely covered it up. In some pictures, there are allegedly structures on the moon that don't look natural. These structures look like walls or towers built on the surface of the moon. But National Aeronautics and Space Administration calls them a play of light and shadows. The second conspiracy theory is even scarier. Some people believe that the Apollo 17 astronauts heard an alien message that came from the surface of the moon. And that message was a kind of warning. After that, National Aeronautics and Space Administration never set foot on the moon again. Another sensational conspiracy theory claims that the Apollo 17 mission never actually happened. because the atmosphere there is such that a human cannot survive even for a few moments on the surface of the moon without a spacesuit. So was this an actor standing in a studio who was accidentally captured on camera? Some other arguments are also given to support this theory. National Aeronautics and Space Administration also refuted these claims, saying that the dust on the surface of the moon is very different from the soil found on Earth. Such marks can be made in a vacuum on the moon. But even after that, no one has been able to solve the mystery of that strange figure to this day. Why is it even in those pictures? Was there really someone else present on the moon? There are two opposing theories about that mysterious figure. On one side, there are those who believe that this is evidence of an alien civilization. Science says that it is impossible for a human to be present on the surface of the moon without a spacesuit. So, was this a species that could survive in the moon's original environment? Some people link this to an ancient alien civilization, which might have used the moon as their base. On the other hand, conspiracy theorists say that this shape was a mistake by National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This is strong evidence that the Apollo missions were filmed on Earth and the whole world was fooled. On the contrary, National Aeronautics and Space Administration says that the minerals and rocks found on the surface of the moon, such as anorthosites and basalts, are completely different from those on Earth. And having them in the laboratory is proof that National Aeronautics and Space Administration went to the moon. This lunar material was brought from there. But if this mission was fake, then where did these rocks actually come from? Is all this part of a big deception, or is there something on the surface of the moon that National Aeronautics and Space Administration is hiding? But both things can't be true at the same time. After Apollo 17, National Aeronautics and Space Administration never went to the moon again. No human missions were carried out. National Aeronautics and Space Administration officially stated that due to budget cuts and the end of the Cold War, the decision was made to stop such expensive missions. During the Cold War, America spent money like water to go to the moon. But its impact started showing up as anger among ordinary people. People were protesting against the American government in various places. Because of this, the government, under pressure, had to reduce its expenses. And National Aeronautics and Space Administration's budget dropped from billions of dollars to just a few $100,000. They stopped all their missions, but now all these conspiracy theories will be exposed, because now National Aeronautics and Space Administration is planning to return to the moon again through the Artemis program. It's National Aeronautics and Space Administration's plan. This time, the plan is to build a permanent base on the moon so that astronauts can stay there for a few days. And if that's the case, will the Artemis program uncover the mystery behind the Apollo 17 mission? As we try to understand the mysteries of the moon, many questions arise before us. Are we really surrounded by aliens? Did National Aeronautics and Space Administration lie to the whole world to win the Cold War, according to National Aeronautics and Space Administration? The truth is that American astronauts made history by landing on the moon. But sometimes we also hear different stories that really make us think. Friends, what do you think? Did National Aeronautics and Space Administration really go to the moon? Be sure to share your opinion with us in the comment section below.